All right, this next recommendation is coming forward from our program configuration subcommittee. And who should I start with? Debbie Swenson? Do I want to start? Callie Pennington? All right.
Hi. Good evening, Mr. President, Board of Education, Madam Superintendent Martin. I'm Callie Pennington, and part of the High Quality Teacher and Teaching Advisory Committee, and we were charged with the program configuration for secondary 7 through 12. I want to introduce some of our new committee members. You've seen this page before. We have added some people. Parent Amy Connett. If you're here, stand up. Jason Evers, Kimberly Freeman, Kelly Glenn, parent and staff, Georgina Hickey, and Darren Stockdale are all new to our committee in the last year or so. These are the design pillars that you continue to see in every presentation, and we just keep those at the forefront of all of our work. The core values that we keep in mind as we do our work every week, and you've seen these at our last presentation as well. And our guiding principles. For those of you new to the audience that were not at our last presentation, this is the definition of a small learning community. Small learning communities emphasize small structure and curricular specialization, as well as focus on the learner and learning, and in particular, the active and collaborative nature of students and teachers' work. In a small learning community, interdisciplinary teams of teachers assume responsibility for student educational progress across years of school and maximize flexibility to act on the knowledge of students' needs. And I'm going to turn it over to Natalie.
Okay, so our recommendation this evening is the following. The High Quality Teachers and Teaching Advisory Committee recommend multiple options for small learning communities at both the middle and the high school level. The number of small learning communities will range between 3 and 4 at the middle school level and 3 and 5 at the high school level. We are still working out those numbers and waiting on our facilities reports and all those things that we need to make those final decisions, but those are the ranges of for the number of small learning communities we will have at each level. We recommend the Board of Education develop in-depth planning to support the implementation of small learning communities through a work team process to include parents, staff, and community members. The instructional model, theme, and partnerships for each learning community will be determined through the work team. This is another slide that was shared with you at our last presentation, but just again for our new audience members and to remind the board of the 6 crucial items that are a part of the effective implementation of SLCs. They must have interdisciplinary teaching and learning teams, rigorous relevant curriculum and instruction, authentic assessment, an inclusive program, and instructional practices, SLC-based continuous program improvement, and building and district level support for the SLCs. And I'll turn it over to Scott.
And we will be working with, or we are working with, the Instructional Model Committee, which will be doing a presentation on March 28, where there will be non-negotiables that will be presented from them. We will be using the assumption, or following the assumptions that we recommend that Program Configuration Committee move forward with making facility recommendations for the secondary program. The numbers of students in each small learning community will range from 120 to 600, depending on the program focus and design. These learning communities may or may not be located in the same building. And as we heard from the athletic committee earlier, it is very important that we keep in mind and are very intentional about making sure that our athletes are served both in the middle school and at the high school, and making sure that facilities are available for them in both situations.
Okay, so our committee wanted to also, as part of our recommendation, let you know that there are some things that we support. So in addition to the recommendation, we support one of the middle school small learning communities as an international academy, partnered with the Washtenaw International High School. And we support the Board of Education's previous decision to support New Tech as one of the secondary instructional programs. So this is the diagram that we've been working from. It kind of explains what we think about how, if you have these small learning communities, how we keep them united, because we're one united Ypsilanti Community School District. And so that blue circle is kind of what we're thinking is this wraparound that kind of keeps us all together and unified. And you can see that the co-curricular activities and the athletics is a big part of that. So having that presentation come before kind of gives you this rich sense of all the work that's being done in that kind of blue circle in an effort to keep everybody together and enriched and to move us forward. So what does this look like? This is our attempt to kind of diagram what we're thinking this could look like, even though the work group has a lot of work that they need to do. So my part is to begin, I'm like kind of a middle years person. Scott's a high school person, so I'm going to start with the middle year kind of part of this, what we're thinking about. So over in the top, you see that 5, 6, because right now we've kept the board made a decision early to keep some buildings intact, or where they are with the grade levels that they have, given that enrollment stays very similar. But in that decision, we had some 5th and 6th graders that were still in play, because Willow Run's ILC facility has 5th and 6th graders in it right now. So our thinking is that we, as a district, would offer some kind of a district-wide option with the secondary configuration that would make a place for 5th and 6th graders. So maybe a learning community there. And so you'll see the dotted line, meaning that they kind of will flow into the 7, 8, and then we've got that line that's filled in because we have 5th and 6th graders that are in the elementary configuration right now that we're not planning on making changes for. So those options aren't just static. So the 5th and 6th graders, there's a little bit of choice we're thinking in this option, or in what we're thinking as far as with model goes. So then you see the 7 and 8 small learning communities. 3, and then it moves over into the 9, 12. Down at the bottom, you see where we've left place for what we're thinking 5, 8 SLC option co-located with Y High. So we're actually thinking that that learning center could be co-located with them. And then Scott's going to kind of look at the high school facility.
And the WAVE program, ECA, and Y High are things that currently exist. So we put them down here as current programs that are going to, we're actually figuring and recommending that will continue to exist, but they exist currently. And you see the arrows up here, and the arrows basically is our attempt to say that some of the learning communities could work together on co-projects. So depending upon what the themes were, there might be some collaboration across the different SLCs, and showing the blue lines going up and down is an attempt to show that there may be going up and down through advisories that bridge across all of the learning centers, and so therefore, again, tying back to that blue circle, where we're trying to still keep in mind the larger community as far as Willow Run Community Schools, but also keeping with the research that shows the small learning communities are the way to go in terms of building that community within the support structure for students. The little circle in the center is our way of saying that maybe there are ways in the future to say there might be entire school projects that each of the learning communities would tie into. With that,
Wait,
I'm sorry.
Your last area.
Oh, that's right.
We have some thinking on that too.
Yeah, that's right. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Thinking about the fact that students, we can keep them for up to 13 years now, or through grade 13, that for some of our students, earning those college credits for free